If you or your family is touched by autism, learn more about Fredi's Foundation at #PopTheTap at FrediThePizzaMan.com. That's Fredi, thepizzaman.com, or email FrediThePizzaman@gmail.com.
This is Inside the Pizza Oven, the podcast that explores the best, most innovative, and relevant pizzerias and restaurateurs in America. Now here's your host, Fredi the Pizza Man, Fredi Bello.
Hey everyone, what's up? Welcome back into the Inside the Pizza Oven podcast. Hope all is well. Episode 3, where we talk pizza again, and we're going to have a guest joining us in a matter of minutes. Eric Burns, Vice President of Sales and Marketing for Perfect Crust Liners. You probably see him all over social media and now on in the PMQ magazine. So before we join him, I want to give a couple shout-outs and a couple thank yous. First, the shout-outs. Listen, it's great to be back doing the podcast. Like I said in episode 1, I haven't done it in about a year. I was mainly talking sports, and now talking pizza and just sprinkling in a little bit of sports. And got a great response by you listening, guys and girls, and just people reaching out to me. It's been great. So I appreciate all that. And in a couple of seconds, I'll tell you where you can find the podcast. And the thank yous, got to thank Paul Lang there, Lang, Paul Lang, actor there in LA. He did my voiceover for the intro and also the little commercial ad for my foundation. So thank you, Paul, and thank you to Mark Hagan for making all that happen. Mark's become a good friend of mine, and he's just a great audio guy. He does a lot of things in the movie and documentary industry, so check him out, Mark Hagan and Paul Lang. Thank you again. So where you can find the podcast, just search Fredi the Pizza Man. That's Fredi the Pizza Man. You'll find me on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and iTunes. You can find the podcast there for sure, YouTube and iTunes. And the podcast goes directly to my website, FrediThePizzaMan.com, and the latest episode always plays there as well. So, but definitely I put it up on YouTube, iHeartRadio. You can find it there as well. Again, just search Fredi the Pizza Man. That's Fredi the Pizza Man. So let's get into season 3. I hope for season 3, episode 3. And just a quick reminder before we get to Eric, next week's episode, looking forward to talking to him, Mark Andro of E&D Pizza, and he'll be joining me next week. So stay tuned. On the other side, we'll be talking to Eric. All right, as promised, let's get to talking Perfect Crust Liners with Vice President of Sales and Marketing of Perfect Crust Liners, Eric Burns. What's up, Eric?
Hey, Fredi, how are you today?
I'm doing good, buddy. We had a little phone challenge there, but I'm in Michigan. Where am I calling you again?
Yeah, I live in Tulsa, Oklahoma. Planted down here via Boston, and I apologize for the Patriots whipping a little preseason action on your Detroit Lions last night.
Listen, you can talk smack all you want. My Lions haven't won anything in 62 years. I'm 49 years old. I saw one playoff win, and I don't even remember it, to be honest with you.
Well, we're the same age. I will tell you, and I know I've listened to your podcast a little bit. I know you're a sports guy. I will tell you, I am 49 as well. I had dinner last Saturday night with my wife and some of her friends, one of my wife's friends' birthdays, and sat next to this kid. He's 25 years old. He's from Rhode Island. He's a Patriots fan. And I said, man, you don't know what it's like. I mean, I grew up, rooting for Stanley Morgan and Steve Grogan and Irving Fryer, and you just don't know what it's like to get your butt kicked.
I saw,
and he doesn't.
I saw the '85 Super Bowl, my man, and Tony Eason and the Chicago Bear and the 46 defense put a stomp on New England there.
No, that was incredible. And I will tell you, I remember watching that game as well, and I know we just started, and so I hate to run down a rabbit hole, but I remember, I think Chicago turned the ball over early. They hold us 3 and out. We kick a field goal. We go up 3-0, and I get excited. I'm like, man, we got a shot, and it's downhill from there. Like I said, there are people out there, there are kids out there like my son who's 22 years old, and just he doesn't know what it's like. He doesn't know it's like to lose, and so it's interesting the way sports can change, and it's fun. People that don't like sports, I don't get it.
That's why, when I was doing the podcast a couple years ago, I was doing it, and I was just talking sports, and, I come to realize pizza is my passion, so what I'm doing is intertwining the two and talking more pizza and just putting a little bit of sports into it. We're going to talk a little sports toward the end of the podcast. We're going to do some rapid fire because I hear you're from Boston, and I got a bone to pick with you about a certain guy there in Boston. But let's talk about exactly why we're here. And you're becoming a superstar on social media there with Perfect Crust Liners. And by the way, you can find him on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. You can probably find this guy everywhere, Perfect Crust Liners. Listen, what makes your product stand out, man?
Well, I will tell you just a little backstory on me. I worked for Roma, PFG for 20 years, so I was on the distribution side. I'm a pizza guy at heart. We've got a pizza oven on our back porch, and we sold the product, and I loved it. And I got to the point where I decided it was time for me to do something a little different. I at first was introduced to Perfect Crust through Mike Bausch at Andolini's Pizzeria in Tulsa, Oklahoma, and just fell in love with the product. Sold a lot of it, and I'll tell you what makes it unique is it's got the patented bumps and patented dimples. So you got those bumps. You put that thing in the pizza box, it's going to lift your pizza up. And what it does is it allows air to circulate underneath the pizza, and it allows your crust to stay crispy. And those dimples that go down are going to soak up the grease and soak up the moisture. And I will tell you, in the world we live in of got to have it now, got to deliver, third-party apps that, by the way, aren't going away and are just going to continue to grow and grow and grow. For a guy like me that sold, Grande cheese and Galvani cheese and Baccio cheese and Stanislaus pizza products and all the best stuff on the planet, I see guys like you and Mike Bausch and Tony Gemignani and Johnny's Pizza and Nino Caniglio and just all these guys that put all this time and love and thought and care and work and effort into what that pizza is, and then they put it in a box and they give it to just Joe Blow with Uber Eats. And nothing against Joe Blow from Uber Eats, but when that pizza gets to someone's house, and if it's not hot, and if the crust is soggy, they don't blame Uber Eats. They blame you.
Absolutely.
And so our product, one of the reasons why I left where I was at to come here is because we're positioned with this product, and we're getting ready to roll out a new bag website. Can't tell you what it is just yet, but we're positioned in that market and in that growing industry that we're there's a need, and I'm getting a little fired up right now, Freddie, because I believe it with a passion. I've got conviction for it because I see it, and you cut me open, and I bleed red, and it's not all blood. There's pizza sauce in there because I love the industry, and I love the segment, and it's fun. There are good dudes in there like Carmine Testa with the Jersey Boys, who I talk to all the time. Love him and his family to death. They're good people, and like I said, it's a fun industry, and like I said, you guys have got to do everything you can do if third-party delivery apps are not going to go away, and they're going to continue to grow whether we like it or not. And so we've got to do everything we can do to control the integrity of the product when it gets home. And so, like I said, I can't I can't say it with any more conviction than I am because I just believe it with all my heart.
Yeah, you couldn't plug it. You couldn't plug it any better. And this is the reason why I do the podcast, because I want to talk to great people like you and meet people like you. It's a great passion, and I love it. Now we can do a whole nother podcast on third party delivery, and I'm not even going to do that right now. But you made
Right.
You made a great point. I never thought about that. And by the way, you sent me a sample of them, and I used them. And I got to find a distributor here that carries them, and I'm going to do that in the next few weeks. But maybe later in the podcast, pizzeria guys that are listening, maybe you can give out some information where they can get some samples themselves. But yeah, you made a great point about third-party delivery. I was with Grubhub for a while, and I just got rid of them because the drivers were just a pain in the butt. And your product, when I use it cutting my pizza, what a big difference it was. And I would have never thought about that until you brought that up. It's a great point about third-party delivery and using your product.
Well, I will tell you, my son is a redshirt junior at the University of Albany. He's a college athlete. He's a football player. And this summer, he decided that he was going to do some DoorDash. And you know what? I love my son to death. He's a 4.0 student, 6'5" quarterback, good-looking kid, gets it all from his mom, right?
Nice.
But this kid during the summer is calling me, telling me, "Hey, Dad, I'm dashing," and he's dashing for 2 hours, and he's picking up food in this, and he sends me a pic of this delivery bag that they gave him. That, quite frankly, the wind could probably blow through this bag, and I shouldn't say he doesn't care or didn't care, but he's picking up stuff, dropping it in the bag, rolling up to somebody's house, dropping food, and so no one is going to care about the food as much as you do in your restaurant.
Yep.
And then the subset of that is no one's going to care as much as you do, and then from there, no one's going to care as much as probably the person preparing it, and below that is probably the server, and then probably the delivery guy. You think about how much Joe Blow, DoorDash, or Postmates cares about your stuff. And here was the other thing that I didn't even realize is, and for pizza guys that maybe are listening to this, think about this. My son at DoorDash knows ahead of time how much his tip is.
Yep. Absolutely.
So if my son knows that he's already got a crummy tip, how much care at that point do you think he's going to put into carrying your pizza into that person's house?
It's
and that's a good, and that, in my opinion, and I'm biased, the most biased man on the planet, but that's a good kid.
Yep. Yeah, I stopped the delivery business a long time ago, and someone talked me into it, and I got into Grubhub, and I'm not going to talk about the third party delivery much, but the two things that turned me off with was the last two times the guy came an hour after I made the pizza, and the customer was complaining, calling me. I'm like, you know what? I got a good reputation with my pizzeria business, and they're going to write me up the way social media is nowadays, and then. And then I ended up giving him the pizza for free. He ended up coming to pick it up, by the way. But the second time, the driver, it was cold out. The driver didn't come with a bag. And I asked him, I said, "Where's your bag?" He goes, "Are you paying me? Because if you are, I'll grab the bag." And I told him, I wanted to jump over the counter, believe me. Knowing me, I wanted to. But you know what? I called Grubhub, and I told him, "Listen, either you come get your machine or I'm going to throw it in the garbage. One way or the other. I'll send it to you in pieces." And they never called me back. They never wanted the machine. But I hear you, man.
Well,
It's tough business.
Well,
man.
we could go on for hours about that, but I will tell you, if you're not doing delivery of any kind, I totally get it, and to each their own. But if you are doing any catering, if you're doing school pizzas, if you're doing school end of the year school parties, anything like that, hey, there's 250 Perfect Crust Pizza Liners in a box. Have a box for that.
Listen,
for things like that, it's valuable.
No, your product. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, you're right. I was done. It's valuable to have around a case for parties. I was at a pizza shop a couple weeks ago, and I was doing what we call a Perfect Crust Pizza Challenge, where We had two pizzas side by side. They made one the way they normally do, which was a pizza wax paper, which, if I'm just being transparent, being honest, and I may offend a lot of people that listen to this next week or a couple weeks from now, but is literally the worst thing you can do with a pizza, because that piece of wax paper is a barrier, and what it does is it keeps all the grease and moisture, and it pushes it up into the crust and makes it even soggier. You're better off just letting it soak into the box. Mm-hmm. But he put his pizza on a piece of wax paper, and we put mine with a Perfect Crust Pizza Liner. We set them in a bag for 30 minutes, which he felt like was about his average delivery time. And he pulled them out, and we hands down won the challenge. And the funny part is he had some sitting back there in the back, and he had two workers there, and they both said, "Oh yeah, we love these things. We use them whenever we take pizza home, because that's the only way they get home and they stay crispy." And here was the owner, and he looked right at them and said, "Why didn't y'all tell me this?"
Yeah.
And so just for stuff like that, even if, like I said, if it's school parties, if it's small catering events, stuff like that, they're great for that sort of stuff, even if you're not delivering. But like I said,
even for a carry-out pizza, listen, I'm an old school pizza guy. I'm very old school. I will tell anybody, you want pizza the right way, come in and eat it. You don't want it in a box. But I'm telling you, your product is pretty legit. I used it, the samples you gave me. It really is. I'm not telling you that because you're on the podcast. It's a pretty legit product there.
Well, I appreciate that. Like I said, I wouldn't be here if it wasn't. I wouldn't have left the job of 20 years to come here. You and I don't know each other very well, but I will tell you, and I don't half-ass much of any. Goes all in, and whether that's Perfect Crust or that's my family or that's being a dad or that's anything. I think you got to go all in, and so I'm all in on this because I believe in it. And so much like the Patriots were on beating your Lions last night, all in.
Joining me here on Inside the Pizza Oven with Fredi the Pizza Man is Eric Burns, Vice President of Sales and Marketing, Pizza Crust Liners. Listen, we're going to get back into Pizza Crust Liners, and maybe you can throw out the pizzeria guys where they can get a hold of you and get a sample. But let me ask you, when you're out eating pizza, what's your favorite kind of pizza?
You know what? You see like Dave Portnoy there with Barstool Sports or Barstool Pizza, who's always about the cheese, go with the cheese. You know what? I'm a pepperoni guy.
Yeah.
Always have been. I just kind of feel like that's the standard. That's just my thing. Give me a good, and honestly, thin crust pepperoni.
Yep.
I just love a good thin crust pepperoni. I love the small cup and char. I'm very Mike Bausch, Andolini's Pizza in Tulsa, good friend of mine. I love they have a larger 4-inch diameter pepperoni. I love that product. I love the cup and char. I'm a pepperoni guy. I think it's kind of hard to mess up pepperoni, and like I said, I love a thin crust. I love it. Call me a little crazy. I like the square cut. That way, I can't really gauge how many slices I had.
Just do like Yogi.
I'm like that.
Just do like Yogi Berra. Just cut it in 4 slices instead of 6, and then you won't get full.
Right there. Yeah, there you go. Now my wife does have me on a little bit of a diet right now, but I have been eating a little bit of that cauliflower crust lately, and I got to tell you, it's not that bad.
No.
So
what do you do? What do you do when you grab a pizza and there's a piece of wax paper on the bottom?
You know what? I take the whole pizza and just throw it on the floor. That's what I do. I just get upset. No, you know what? Hey, to each their own. It is what it is. You're not gonna convince everybody to buy your product, but there's a niche out there for us, and there are guys that are going to do wax because they've always done wax, and it is what it is. But,
yep.
We're just out having fun, and so it's all good.
You can't make everybody happy in this business. I learned that. I've been doing this 38 years. 38 years, and I've learned very quickly you can't make everyone happy in this business. I'll tell you that.
Right.
So,
right. No doubt.
So when you're not eating pizza, you're in a pizza business. I mean, you are selling liners, so you're in a pizza business. When you're not eating pizza,
yes.
Tell me a food that you like, that you would say, you know what, this is my go-to, but not pizza.
Man, that's a good question. pre-diet, pre-diet of the last month, I will tell you, living in Oklahoma, we have a lot of Mexican, and there is Sapulpa, Oklahoma, Pablo's Mexican, really good Mexican food, and he's got this green chili salsa verde stuff. I don't even know what's all in it, Freddie, but it's incredible. And I could just eat that for days. So probably some Mexican, either some ground beef chimichanga or some, I like some chorizo, some good Mexican. You can never go wrong with Mexican.
Yeah, Mexican is a favorite of mine. It's a little salty for me, especially when you eat,
right.
When I eat at my place all the time. I know what's going into my food. It's all olive oil and natural, but I like Mediterranean food, Arabic food. That's a favorite of mine when I get out to eat, which is not often because I got 3 little kids.
Right.
But that's
right.
a favorite of mine.
I got you. Well, now, I've got little kids too, so we've got a 22-year-old, a 7-year-old, and a 4-month-old.
Ooh.
You sitting down for that?
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah, things are a little crazy around here. So
yeah, mine are 9, 7, and 5. So yeah, I totally feel.
You got your hands full too.
Speaking of Oklahoma, quick question: Are you guys gonna another Heisman Trophy winner this year? Is at quarterback? I mean, you got enough there, right?
I think there are a lot of people down here rooting for that. We moved here when I was, a little about 12, 13 years old, and so with me, I was with my dad. We were Patriots, Celtics, Red Sox, Bruins fans, and I honestly I root for Oklahoma State, University of Tulsa, but I never I care, but I don't care. So I'm rooting for him. I can't even think of his name now right off the top of my head. The kid that transferred from Alabama. We'll see.
Yeah, we'll see.
We'll see. I will tell you, I know you're a sports guy. I think Kyler Murray at Arizona, I think he'll be maybe average in the NFL. We'll see. He's not going to be a Baker Mayfield. We'll see.
Well, the Lions face him first week 1, so we'll see. And the Lions never win there in Arizona. So you're listening to Inside.
Well, I'm calling it right now. You got a W coming.
Oh, okay. I'll remember that. I will definitely remember that. You're listening to Inside the Pizza Oven. You can find the podcast on YouTube, iTunes, and iHeartRadio. All you got to do is search Fredi the Pizza Man, Fredi, the Pizza Man, Inside the Pizza Oven. So let's get into a little rapid fire because you are from Boston, and I'm going to give you a name, okay? And maybe that'll rile you up because it riles me up over here. Dave Dombrowski. He was here.
Well,
he was here for a long. Let me tell the people the story, the background that aren't from Michigan. He was here for about a 10-year period, or maybe 10 or 12 years, and took us to 2 World Series, but we never won the World Series here. He could never build that bullpen. He goes to Boston, and I always say Dave Dombrowski is an okay general manager. He just had some very rich owners that opened up the checkbook. He won a World Series there in Boston. Now they want him fired there. You hear about that in Boston?
Yeah, I have.
Yeah.
Well, I will tell you, I just watched the man just sit on his hands at the trade deadline and do nothing to bolster our bullpen and basically say, pitching's fine and it stinks, and we proceed to lose, I think, 8 or 9 in a row. And, so I'm not a big fan myself. I kind of think I don't want to say I think last year for the Red Sox, the stars kind of aligned, and you had a lot of late inning wins and a lot of come from behind victories, and and that thing, those kind of things happen in sports, and they have to, I think, to have great seasons. But I think the Red Sox team this year is not playing as good as it can be, but the pitching's not there, and like I said, you just watch them literally do absolutely nothing. I mean, nothing at the trade deadline, and it was him. He just sat there with his hands and did nothing, and that's really frustrating.
Yeah, he's
so
famous.
I say fire him.
He's famous for giving up the farm and getting guys. But this year, maybe he has nothing left. Who knows? But I'm going to give you a name. He's from actually my home city here. He's actually played for my rival high school. So he was only about 5 minutes from me. He's actually his high school is 5 minutes from my pizzeria. Derek Lowe. Remember Derek Lowe?
Oh, I love D-Lo. In fact, I will tell you, in 2004, we went to, it was mid-April, 2004. I was at Fenway Park. It was the Sunday before the Monday Patriots Day game, which was a Monday early game, and we saw Derek Lowe pitch that Sunday. Derek Lowe, great pitcher, great Red Sox pitcher.
Yeah, and then your catcher there, Veritek. His dad was from about a city away from me. And think about Derek Lowe. The Boston Red Sox didn't win a World Series for decades and decades and decades. This kid from Dearborn, Michigan, is on the mound when they win the World Series, or he started the game and they win the World Series. That's kind of neat. So we got a little claim to fame here. And John Smolch is another guy. He's from right around the corner here too. But yeah, Derek Lowe. Yeah, good pitcher.
Derek Lowe was for the Red Sox in his little run. He was pretty clutch.
Yep. Yes, he was. He was
pretty clutch. Let me flip the tables, Freddie, and ask you a question.
Sure.
Your Detroit or your Michigan Mount Rushmore of sports. You got to pick one from baseball, football, hockey, and basketball. Who do you have? Who would be your four?
Well, for here, it would be definitely Barry Sanders in football. No doubt about it.
Sure. Oklahoma State guy.
Absolutely. And I saw him play his last college game against Wyoming.
Nice.
Steve Yzerman in hockey. Baseball. For me, it's got to be Alan Trammell, Lou Whitaker put together. Double play combination there. And
you're allowed it. Hey, it's your thing, so you can do whatever you want. I like it.
Basketball, I'm going to go a little controversial because I think everybody would pick Isaiah Thomas, but for me, I would pick Joe Dumars. Joe Dumars was a class act. He won both titles, and he actually was the general manager for the title they won in 2004. So for me, it would be those four guys, and I know everyone would probably pick Isaiah Thomas. He was the heart and soul of that team. But you remember Bill Laimbeer, because I was going to talk to you about the Celtics a little bit. You remember Bill Laimbeer and Robert Parrish punching him in the face and all that stuff?
Oh yeah. That I was going to say, my Mount Rushmore, I definitely have Larry Bird up there on mine. I remember trying, in the '80s, trying to make shots like Larry and trying to be Larry Legend in the backyard. But that was for me. I watch basketball now, and NBA basketball of the four major sports is definitely my least favorite. I feel like, we're the same age. That era of basketball was it was tough, hard nosed. It was a battle. It was a grind every night, and maybe it's just us looking back, or maybe it's just me looking back, going, those were the good old days. I have a saying: the good old days are always today. We just don't realize it for 10 years, and those, I feel like those games, those Lakers, Pistons, Bulls series back then were just incredible, and I don't feel like anything now equals that.
Well, I got a couple more questions, and they might be some tough ones here to end the podcast, okay? So, rapid fire, I'm going to give you two names. You got to pick one. Tom Brady or Larry Bird?
Man, Larry Bird.
My favorite basketball player of all time.
I love Tom Brady, and I love all those Super Bowl wins. I just, like I said, I sat in the backyard trying to be Larry Bird. I don't sit in my yard trying to be Tom Brady. So, I respect the cat. I love everything he's done. And I have a Tom Brady jersey. Just Larry. There are very few people in my life, if I saw them, I'd be in awe of them. Larry Bird would be one of those few people. So next question, Freddie.
Listen, Eric, before I get to the next one, we can sit 1,000 people in a line, and no one will come up with the same answer. You know that. Sports, that's how it is, and that's a good thing. But
sure.
If you could seriously sit down and say Larry Bird and Tom Brady are probably the two best athletes in sports history. I mean, when it comes to mentally tough, obviously their talents are great, but their mental strength is, to me, what makes a great athlete is their mental strength. Tom
100%.
Brady is Tom Brady. I mean, I remember Joe Montana, and
Yep.
Tom Brady is unbelievable. He's gonna get another Super Bowl. But Larry Bird,
Let's hope.
I can't tell these young kids enough. Listen, I get, he's white. I say, you kidding me? This guy, Larry Bird, could do everything. He could shoot, he could dribble, he could pass, he could rebound, he could steal, he could play defense, and he can get in your head.
Yep.
And I think he actually punched Bill Laimbeer in the face one time too.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It's amazing, man. Next one, Roger Clemens or Bobby Orr?
Oh, Bobby Orr, without a doubt. And Bobby Orr was a little before my time, and I say Bobby Orr because my dad, who passed away a few years ago, Bobby Orr was on my dad's Mount Rushmore. And number one, number two, Roger Clemens, A, steroids, B, went to the Yankees, so he's hated. So definitely Bobby Orr. Zero doubt. Next question, zero doubt. With Roger Clemens dead to us. Next question.
Well, that was my next question. Is Roger Clemens going to go to the Hall of Fame?
Never.
No?
I do have a little bit of opinion on the steroid stuff. I will say this. I think there have always been throughout baseball guys trying to get an edge, whether it's scuffing baseballs, corking bats, whatever. I think there's always been that going on, and it is interesting, just as much as we can have guys roiding up to pitch, we have guys taking steroids to bat. I don't know how much of a difference that stuff really made. I don't know. I don't have so much of an issue of those guys getting into the Hall of Fame, honestly. I just don't want him to go in the Hall of Fame just because he was a Yankee. So that's why. And by the way, I think Pete Rose should be in the Hall of Fame. I don't care if he bet on games or not. The guy was an incredible baseball player. He should be in the Hall of Fame for baseball.
Absolutely.
For what he did. So,
absolutely.
And by the way, sometimes fame can be infamous too. So, he should be in the Hall of Fame, and maybe not for the right reasons. But he should be in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, there's a lot of greats out there. Barry Bonds and Clemens and Pete Rose and Rafael Palmeiro. He's another great one. And we will see. And that's a whole nother podcast. Last question, and then I want you to tell everybody where they can find you. And if somebody wants to look for some of those samples, you can plug away. Do you miss the New England Patriots old uniforms? Because I can tell you, I miss them with a passion.
100%. When they do, throwback uni day, I love it. I think they look phenomenal. You got Pat the Patriot down there over the ball. I think they look great. I love it. I wish they did it a little more often. So I'm right there with you. As far as where people can find us, I appreciate you throwing us out there at the beginning regarding social media. I feel like there are people out there that do an awful job on social media. Social media, from a pizza standpoint, if you've got a pizzeria and you're not on Instagram and you're not on Facebook, shame on you. It's an opportunity to give your pizza place or Perfect Crust, it's the opportunity to give your pizza place a voice, a smile, a personality. It's an opportunity for you to reach out and talk to your customers. And you've got to do that stuff. Freddie, you do a great job of that. There are other people out there that do a great job of that.
Yes.
And it's free. It's totally free. And so you've got to reach out to your customers, and you have an opportunity to do that every day by posting content, by posting pictures. We live in a world now where it's people just want to scroll and like. And I won't name the pizzeria. There's a pizzeria local in Tulsa that every day they post, hey, we've got a special, 2 this for $13.99. And they never post a picture. And they wonder why nobody ever likes their stuff.
Oh, wow.
Post a picture of some pizza and let people see what it looks like. The guy makes great pizza. And so I would challenge pizzeria operators to post pictures. I will tell you some of the things that we love to do at Perfect Crust is if we see a pizza and it's got a Perfect Crust Pizza Liner underneath it, we're going to take a screenshot of it. We're going to share it. We're going to tag you in it, and we're going to post it. We love doing that. I was in a pizza group recently on Facebook that the administrator of the group kicked me out of the group, and I'll tell you why. Because he said that I wasn't doing enough interacting, and it was an odd conversation. And I said, my man, if you had any idea what I do to help the pizza industry as a whole regarding just what we do on our Perfect Crust pages and what I've done just myself personally over 20 years, I've done far more than you have from this guy lives in Japan. Yeah. I'm just like, you don't even get it. But anyway, you can find us at Perfect Crust Pizza on Instagram, on Facebook. Like I said, we're very interactive. We love to send out samples. You can go to perfectcrust.com. There's right there. If you're on your phone, it'll click up a little green bar that says Get Samples. It literally takes about 12 seconds. You click on it. You type in Fredi the Pizza Man. You put in your address, Loserville Road, Detroit, Michigan, and we literally will send samples right to your house. You put in what size pizza boxes you have, what sizes you want, how many you want. We'll ship them right to you. By the way, I was kidding about Loserville Road. But we will ship them right to your restaurant, right to your house. It is so easy. We are in a lot of distribution. We're in PFG, Ferraro. We're in some Cisco houses. We're in a lot of Bellissimo houses. I mean, you can buy direct from us. So we'll find a way to get it to you. So, but like I said, we'll find a way. And hey, I just to tell you, I appreciate you having us on today. And I love some of the stuff that you're doing on a personal level because I appreciate a man of conviction and what you've got going on personally.
That's my life. That's my life. That's my life. And I'm blessed because pizza, my 38 years in pizza, is giving me the platform, and I was lucky enough to make the cover of PMQ. Is giving me the platform to raise money and help teachers and schools and buy them equipment and raise money and thousands of dollars. If pizza is my platform, I don't care if I make a penny off pizza anymore. It's about raising money for autism and getting to know great people like you. And there's a lot of great people in the pizzeria business. I know a lot of them, many, many years. And there's a lot out there that will thumb your nose at you and don't, we're too big for you and blah, blah, blah. That's fine. But for me, it's about raising money for kids and making a great pizza and raising my family and talking to great people like you.
Well, like I said, I see what you do out there for autism, and I commend you, and it's good stuff. So if there's anything we can do to help you at Perfect Crust, you definitely let us know. And like I said, we appreciate the love today. I know we went a little longer than what you thought, but we were just having fun today, right? That's
what the podcast's all about. And to end it, I got to tell you, the last time the New England Patriots, I see them wear the Patriot Pat. They came in Detroit on Thanksgiving and stuffed our turkey, probably 42-0. All right, brother.
All right, man, you have a great day. I appreciate it.
Talk to you soon, all right? Bye-bye.
All right, see you, buddy. Bye.
Bye-bye. All right, man, that guy's what a lot of passion there, and I had a feeling we were going to go longer. I like to keep the podcast 20, 25 minutes, but listen, who cares? What a lot of passion there, and God bless him with all those rings there in Boston between the Bruins and the Celtics and you name it, the Patriots and all that. So, listen, thanks for tuning in to Inside the Pizza Oven, Episode 3. And listen, I will always end the podcast this way, and I will tell you this all the time. All pizzeria, if you want to open a pizzeria, you want to open a restaurant, and your sole goal is to open up a pizzeria and open up a restaurant, and your sole goal is to make money, remember, you never will make money. That should not be your sole reason to open up a restaurant or a pizzeria. It's the passion from your heart and your soul is what eventually will make you that money. Thanks, guys. Talk to you next week. Mark Angel of E&D Pizza.